when you're giving thanks and you're giving recognition to someone, I think, especially when you're dealing with adults, it's a two-way street. By feeling thankful, some people need to verbalize that. They need to get that out. Welcome, everybody, back to the Stand Tall Leadership Show. My name's Steve Bowler, also known as Stand Tall Steve, and I am here with
Meg Dede with Integrated.
There you go. All right. We are rocking and rolling with Stand Tall Leadership Show. And I'm excited about this because this is part two. This is part two. Part two of, what's the title, Meg?
Real recognition.
Real recognition.
Part two.
The real stuff.
What did you call them? Faculty? What do you say?
Faculty. This is faculty. Yeah, this is part two. Part two, part one was students. Part two for real recognition is for staffalty. That's what I like to call them. It's staff and faculty mixed together. Staffalty. That means it's everybody, every adult in the school, whether you're a teacher, an aide, a secretary, a custodian, an administrator, a volunteer, you're a part of the staffalty. You're a part of everyone there. So that's what we're focusing on as it relates to recognition. Now, some tidbits. Now, this is the first one you've heard. You didn't hear part one. You just hear part two. Some things that we really quantified and clarified in part one is, to me, recognition at the very basic level of it is open your mouth and say something nice. That's it. Just say something nice. When you start giving gifts and giving things, that's more a reward or award, reward, something to that effect. But when you're just recognizing, you're taking note when someone's doing something, and you open your mouth and you say something nice. And that's what we really focused on. We really dove in deep into how to really develop that culture and climate within your classroom with the students and moving them forward. We talked about the elementary, we talked about high school. We kind of jumped over middle, but you get it. And that's what we have. So now we're talking about the adults. The adults. So what comes to mind to you, Meg, when we talk about real recognition with the staffalty, the adults?
The adults. Well, so I'm still working in the classroom as a current teacher. And so my big thing is the teamwork. You know, when we're working with teams of teachers, even with Integrated and then personally, to recognize the little things that your team members are doing for you and to say that out loud. You know, if they made extra copies for you on their lunch break, thank you so much for making those extra copies. You've saved me some time. You know, they picked up your recess duty. You know, thank you for, doing that for me. Just the little things that you're recognizing, that they're kind of going out of their way for you, and just keep that positive culture with your team.
Yeah. Now, have you ever had an adult who's just like, don't thank me. I just do it. I don't need thanks. You know,
Yes.
and there's people like that. I get that. Right. But when you're giving thanks and you're giving recognition to someone, I think, especially when you're dealing with adults, it's a two-way street. So not only is it that you are recognizing the other person for what it is that they've done for you, it's also you going through your process that you need in order to feel thankful. And by feeling thankful, some people need to verbalize that. They need to get that out. So I say that to say that those people who are like, I don't need thanks, don't say anything to me, just let me do it. Remember, it's a two-way street. It's back and forth. They need to show that thanks, and you're preventing them from showing that thanks. And it's not that hard of a thing to say or do when someone says thank you. You're welcome. That's all you have to say. You know, you go there, now you just ruined the things that they were trying to give to you. You just ruined it. You know? Does that make sense? That's just my thought about
Yeah.
that.
Oh, I don't know. I'm definitely verbal when it comes to stuff. I'm just gonna bluntly tell you that I
Yeah.
really appreciated something. I think my favorite thing though too, maybe you don't want to say it, but maybe like little sticky note or something, somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
a little to recognize something that was going well, or just a
All
little
right. Well,
note.
that brings to mind the administrative side of this. All right. So let's talk about recognition from the administrative side to your staffalty. One of the best things I've ever done, and it's the simplest thing, and many, many, many administrators do this, I'm sure, at least I hope they do, is Post-it notes or sticky notes. You know, you go into a classroom, I see something great. I have wrote a sticky note, put it on their desk, like, wow, loved what I saw in here. I love the way that you were teaching. And that's the other thing we talked about last time, being specific about what the recognition that you're going to give. So when you're an administrator, you're going in and you're seeing an amazing they put the objective up on, or the standard up on the, or something up on the board, and it's written really well, right? The essential question is written really well, or something to that effect. Sticky note. Wow, I love how that essential question that you wrote is written. Put it on their desk instead of, hey, good job, love the lesson, hey, way to go. Now those are nice, but very similar to what we said about the students being specific about the recognition that you're given. Be specific about the recognition that you're going to give the teachers as well. How would you feel as a teacher with that?
Oh gosh, I think my even being a veteran teacher, when
Mm-hmm.
my admin walks in, or another educator, anybody really, and they notice things that are going well, it makes you think, oh yeah, thanks for noticing that. I was trying a little bit harder on this, or I took a risk on that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it even comes to you talk about other people in our building. I think aides, they do not get the recognition that they
Oh.
deserve. They deal with way more than a lot of us do as classroom teachers. And my biggest thing is when I have an aide walk in, is they are equal to me, and you're here to help the students, which is also in turn helping me.
Right.
And then in turn saying, like, I loved that you took time for this student, or whatever that may be. Just
Mm-hmm.
those little tiny things I think are just huge.
They are huge. They really are. And I get it. Sometimes you may watch someone, they're doing something, you're like, well, what do I recognize? I can't recognize that. That's so basic. Or, like you go in, you see an aide working with the kid. Well, that's what they're supposed to do, is work with the kid. I don't know what to say specifically that they're doing like that. Hey, I love your diligence in working with these kids. Yep. I love the way you're listening to the kids when they're talking. You can find something. Look for something, right?
Yeah.
Now, there's nothing wrong with the basic, hey, you're doing a great job. Don't get me wrong. But to get that specificity in there, it goes a lot better with that. I think it goes a lot better when you have that in there. Definitely.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Stand a little taller.
Hey, I love staying tall. That's it. Now, some ideas of ways that adults can recognize other adults. Now, this is something that my school did. I believe my teachers came up with this, when it's called This Bud's for You. And it has nothing to do with alcohol, gang. But for This Bud's for You, whenever we had a faculty meeting, we would get a bouquet of flowers, and we'd put that bouquet of flowers right outside of the door of the entrance going into the faculty room. As staff went into the faculty room, if they so chose, they would pick up a flower and they would go in. I would start the meeting off. All right, gang, this bud's for you. Go. Whoever had a flower in their hand, they would raise their flower or they would stand up. Let's say it was Mr. Devery. He's like, hey, got this flower. I really want to give this to Mrs. Lucing. Hey, thank you for covering my class the other day. I really appreciated you. Here you go. He passes the flower. Next, Mrs. Johnson, she stands up with a flower. Yes, I want to give this to Mrs. Conroy. I'm not going to say what she did, but you know what you did. Thank you. Oh, okay. Everybody laughs. But this is just a way that staff could recognize each other. And then it turns into a little bit of a reward, because now you actually give a token. And we would start the meeting off that way. It was just like, what, 3-4 minutes?
Yeah.
I'm good with that. Sometimes we would have a bunch of flowers. Sometimes, one time we had none. Fine. Get the flowers, put them in a vase, stick them in the main office on the counter. for
I
whatever you got left. That's it. It's just a way that they can recognize and take note of each other. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that's cool. We would do staff and we would have this really fancy teacup set, like little
Mhm.
saucer and a little teacup. And we'd give it away. I think we called it like tea time or something. And someone would nominate somebody else in the building for their whatever they've done. And you would
Right.
get this teacup, and then the principal would come in and give you a 10-minute tea time. You get to go have your tea away from your
Oh,
students.
oh,
Yeah.
now that's cool. That's a new one. I have not heard that one before. That's
Yeah.
cool. We did a bowling pin. So I
Oh,
went to a bowling alley and I said, "Do you have an old bowling pin?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure, here." And they gave it to me for free. So we would start off, I would give it to one of the teachers would start it off. And at the beginning of the month, they would faculty meeting, they're like, "Yes, I'm here and I want to recognize," and they can give it to anybody in the school. It could be a teacher, it could be anybody. It doesn't have to be a teacher. And they tell them why they are giving them this award for what they've done and how hard they've worked or whatever like that. And they hand them a bowling pin, a beat up, busted bowling pin. And so that person holds on to it for a month. And then the next month, that person will get up and then they will talk about somebody else and they would pass it to the next person. Now, here's the thing. Each time somebody would have a bowling pin, they added something to the bowling pin. So by the end of this end of the school year, the bowling pin had eyes, it had a wig, it had a purse, it had stickers,
oh
it
my
had
gosh.
feet. I mean, everybody would add their own thing. It had a lei around it. One time somebody put a pantyhose over it. It's a, and they would, you go by the teacher's room, whatever month they have it, and it would be sitting proudly right at the edge of their desk. And it was like, and we turned that into the teacher of the month. That's how you got teacher of the month. And therefore you get the good parking spot and all the other kind of cool stuff with it. I was out of it as a building administrator. I was out of it. They did that's their whole thing. That was a
Yeah,
fun
and
thing.
the teachers are loving that. They're like, "Oh, I gotta go to Hobby Lobby to decorate this bowling
Oh,
pin."
they did. Well, I mean, the one time when it had a purse, they wrapped it was a pocketbook and it had stuff in the pocketbook. And they would the faculty meeting, they would laugh so hard. They thought it was the funniest thing in the world. They thought it
Absolutely.
was okay. All right.
Okay.
Now my last name is Bowler, not spelled like bowling, but Bollar. So they said, "Oh, it's the Bowler Teacher Award." It had nothing to do with it, but they called it the Bowler Teacher Award. I know another school, they passed around a tire, like a car tire, and they called it
No.
the Tireless Teacher,
Oh
the
my
Tireless
gosh.
Teacher Award. They painted the tire purple. I think the school's color were purple and white.
Perfect.
Another school did a sneaker. It was like, it's not about what it looks like, it's about what it means.
Yeah, exactly. Not necessarily, this isn't for staff, but at the end of the year, our school, our celebration committee, Sunshine Committee, came up with the idea to recognize the parents. And
Mm.
so the last day of school, the aides help us out, cover our classrooms, and all the teachers go out and we serve muffins and coffee to the drop-off line. And so we say like little things like, "We're muffin without you," you
Ah,
know.
here you go.
So
That's
they get like a
cute.
little, Perkins donates the muffins and our coffee shop donates the coffee. And it
Mhm.
is the best thing. Like, thank you so much for letting us have your kids. It's your turn. So
Yeah, a little bit of that, but
yeah.
still a little recognition. Again, recognizing adults. That's why it's a real recognition part two, recognizing adults. All right, let's go to bus drivers. All right.
Oh,
What we did
yeah.
with our bus drivers. Now, no, this is Fountain Woods Elementary School in Burlington, New Jersey. Tina Dietrich is the culture climate specialist at that school. They have hot cocoa and donuts for the bus driver. So they're pulling up, they drop off the kids, they have teachers out there, they go on there, they give them hot cocoa and a nice warm donut from a local bakery. And that way they can keep it moving. Recognition for them. What I did is I went to just local places in the area, me and my little team, local places. We said, "Look, we're recognizing our bus drivers. Are you willing to do a gift certificate or something?" So we made a little certificate book. So at the end of the school year, we went on to all the buses and we said, "Hey, thank you so much. This is especially for you." And we gave each one a little coupon book that they can go get $1, $5 off, pizza spots, whatever like that. And at first they thought it was a joke. And I went back and I explained to them, no, this is real. Like they're like, oh my God, I threw it away. No, get it. And so the next year they remembered, and it was, there you go, recognizing the adults in the school. Okay, we go custodians. Let me get this custodians. I got a custodian one. All right. For the custodians, what I did is I went and I got certificate paper, blank certificate paper. And then I printed on it. I have my secretary, she printed on it, this hallway is professionally maintained by, and then the name of the custodian. And then we went out to the dollar store and got like dollar store frames, picture frames. And then we put Velcro on the back of it and Velcro in the hallway. So therefore, what we did is we stuck it to the hallway, to whatever their hallway that they're assigned to. And you notice I didn't say this hallway is cleaned by. I said this hallway is professionally maintained by the name. And this way, it's a nice little certificate. And they were like, oh, we're recognizing you for what this is, identifying you. And we did Velcro on purpose, because what happens? They move hallways, right? Sometimes they shift to another, and they can very easily just rip it right off the hallway, stick it on another hallway. They loved it. They lost their stuff on that. The custodians loved. I wanted to put their picture on they didn't want their picture on it. They didn't want their picture on it, but I wanted their picture on it. But boom, it's another opportunity just to recognize them.
I love that. We personally, my husband and I, Lee, we buy our secretaries flowers once a year. We just show up, we find their favorite drink, and just say thank you for keeping our admin intact, because we know that you're actually the people that run the school,
Right.
all the things. So we try to, recognize, even as parents, if you have kids that go to school, the people that you don't necessarily recognize, like the teachers, there's like Teacher Appreciation Week and there's Counselor Week. So we always like to do something just fun for them out of nowhere. It's not a special
out of nowhere,
day.
just random. Like, look, appreciate you. That's wonderful. That's it.
But back to what we really appreciate them doing. The secretaries, like, thank you for this.
Helping the administrators. Yes, you're being specific. Going back to what we said about that. Yes, definitely. And, we're thinking, and I'm going back to the administrative thing, since we're talking administrators. As an administrator, it goes back to what we're talking about in part one with the students. You recognize what it is they're supposed to do, reward them when they go above and beyond. That concept still works with adults. So if you're an administrator and you're trying your best to develop an environment, you're trying your best to maintain a positive culture, uplifting climate, you do that by recognizing what it is that you respect and value in that building, of the adults, of the staff. Recognizing what it is they're supposed to do when they're doing what it is you want them to do, when they're doing the right thing. Take the time to recognize it. Don't sit back and say, well, this is part of their job, it's on their contract. Yeah, it is, right? On your contract, it probably doesn't say anything about recognizing and rewarding teachers, but it also in your contract, it doesn't say that you should talk about them bad, whine, cry, moan, and complain. But I'm sure you do that. So if you can whine, cry, talk about them behind the back and everything else, then you can also say, way to go, good job, proud of you, keep it up. So recognizing them for what it is that the teachers are supposed to do in the building, by that strengthens the climate and culture in your school. And then when they go above and beyond and you're like, man, that's really over, that's when you do an extra personalized recognition. Have a reward system of some kind in your building. I know in my building, it was pre-COVID, we had what do you call it? Dress down day passes for the staff. Because nowadays teachers dress a little bit more relaxed. But pre-COVID, it was there was even a policy of how teachers professional dress. I would have dress down day passes. And if a teacher went above and beyond for anything, here's a dress down pass. Those things were like currency in that building. they would trade. You would see and every year I would change the color of it. It's like my first year, it was pink. My second year was blue. My next year was green. My next year I saw like I was there for 8 years. I think it was like year 7. I saw a pink one from year 1. They turned it in. They were like, you were holding on to this? They're like, yes, we hold on to these. And I had a stamp. I put a stamp on it. That way they wouldn't copy it or whatever like that. I had a little red stamp or a green stamp. That was my stamp. And they knew it came from me. Oh yeah, that was big stuff.
This is true though. I still have 2 jeans passes sitting in my desk drawer just for the perfect time.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, you just never know when you need a good jeans day.
Yeah, that's it. I would give it to my phys ed teachers, and they're like, I dress down every day anyway, but they would use that and bribe other people. They would use it themselves and like, look, you do this for me, I'll give you a dress down pass. I got a bunch of them. They're like, okay. I'm serious. It was currency in the building. It was basically
I love
currency.
that. I love that. You should give them a like dress like the phys ed teacher day.
Dressed like the phys. Oh, well, it might be coming in some booty shorts and craziness. I don't know. We'll see. I did have a new teacher one time. We had a dress down day just for staff. She came in looking homeless. I mean, it was like ripped sweatpants. It wasn't even ripped jeans. It was ripped sweatpants, sneakers with no laces in them. I'm like, I went to her room. I said, look, it is dress down day, but it's not that dress down. And she's like, oh, sorry. I said, yeah. Should I go home? Yeah. I thought go get something and put something on. That's it's just, wear some jeans and some sneakers. Don't come in looking like that. You were looking rough. So yeah. But that was my job. That's your job to do. All right. Hey.
Okay. This is good. Those are good ideas.
This was good.
Yeah.
Real recognition, part 1 and 2. Gave you some ideas as it relates to recognition for students and some understandings and some recognition for the adults. We got more ideas, I think, in the adult one than the kid one. I think the kid one is more of a mindset understanding, and where the adult one is, we actually shared ideas. You can actually things
good
to
ideas. Do. Well, the kid one, I mean, if you go to listen to part 2, you have to really understand that recognition is saying something nice. It's not a reward. So just having that mindset before we're moving on. Yeah, it was good.
So if you're here already at 2, go back and listen to 1, so that way you have it both together. Right there it is. And both of us, we have some speaking engagements coming up. We got you're going to be in Tennessee. You got a virtual one. You got Innovative School Summit Vegas. Both of us are going to be there, right?
Yeah. Yep. Nashville, all the things. Well, you said that, Tennessee. Yeah, but you've got big things coming up. You're busy.
Yeah, I got some big things coming up. I'm going back to West Virginia. I'm going like Vegas. I'm talking to a school in Istanbul that I might be going over there to help out with them. I just talked with the Georgia Association of Elementary School Principals Conference, which is going to be in October in Athens, Georgia. So going to be there for that one. A lot of schools. I'm filling up in August. August is starting to fill up. Oh, and we're going to the National Speakers Association Conference.
Yes. I'm excited for that one.
Yes. This is a conference for professional speakers. So we're going to go to that this summer. My daughter's going because they have a youth leadership camp. She's 17, so she's excited. She's going. So I'm bringing the team. Meg's coming, Kara's coming, Jessica is coming, myself. So the whole Stand Tall team is going to be there. So yeah, we have a lot of great things going. And if anybody out there wants myself or Meg from Integrated to come to their school to provide PD, training, inspiration, virtually or in person, please reach out to us. Go to standtallsteve.com, or your website is
integratedk12.com.
integratedk12.com. All right. Yep. And last thing is within our ranks. I'm going to let you talk about within our ranks.
Within our ranks is I am a graduate of. So within our ranks, if you want to speak professionally about a topic in education that you're passionate about, within our ranks is something that you need to check out. Steve is your mentor, your coach, and he knows the way to get you to be able to share those things that you're passionate about. So head on over to withinourranks.com to check out more.
There you go. All right. 2 great sessions, Real Recognition Part 1, Real Recognition Part 2. Check it out. Stay with us. We're thinking of ideas for the next season coming up soon, and it's going to be fun. We're going to have some good ideas.
Good. If you have anything that you would like us to talk about, go ahead and leave a comment on this video, and make sure you subscribe if you haven't yet, so you get the latest Stand Tall Leadership Show podcast and YouTube videos. We'd love to hear your thoughts and any ideas that you have.
There you go. All right. Thanks so much, gang. Have a good one.